Good afternoon, Bruin fans, and welcome to another edition of Something Bruin with Coach Cook. And if you're counting at home, this is episode 6 of the 22 season. And Coach Cook, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Rags. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, and let's start off with last week. I know that we were playing Great Bridge, but with Ian and no Friday off days, a little glad that we were able to play last Thursday night rather than wait till the weekend or even Monday because Monday was just as bad as what Friday was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a day off of school or a school day out, if that makes sense, Monday, and it was a day of rest. What we ended up doing, though, to make sure we didn't miss a day of preparation, we had our volunteer Google Meets in preparation of Indian River, where each phase of the game had a 45-minute meeting with that personnel group.
Okay. Hey, and that's another thing about the pandemic. I mean, it showed where teams can, with technology, not only does football have huddle, but with technology, you can meet with the offense, the defense, you can meet with the team over technology virtually rather than in person and watch video.
Correct. And I'll be the first to tell you, man, I came a long way. When the pandemic happened, just setting up a Google Meet or anything of that nature, that was a challenge. And now we're able to just log on, give kids enough time to get on and coaches, and boom, we're rolling. So, yes, the pandemic has really taught us to be not only flexible coaches, but yet to adapt or adjust to the new technology that allows us to pick up where we left off.
Yes, and let's just point out, and for some of the fans that tune in to Craig Loper and Nathan Epstein's coverage there at Channel 10 with Friday Night Flights and their segment yesterday with their recent Player of the Week, and
Yes.
a blizzard was going on there at Stadium Drive last Thursday.
Absolutely, man. Well deserved for a hardworking young man. He gets it done on and off the field. When I received that email that they would like to come out to our campus and recognize him for being the Hardy's Player of the Week, it was awesome, And I kept it a secret, so he didn't know until Tuesday afternoon when he came to practice, because I wanted it to be a big deal and a big thing for him. He's worked very hard. It's a lot of people know. So we're very pleased and proud of his effort.
Yeah, and the other thing is there's been plenty of time where local TV, local newspaper will come to practice, but I saw at the end of the segment, there with the team huddling around Shamik, and then you were looking into the camera and gave him the news.
Absolutely. I reminded Coach Jay way back in 1996, the Top Gun Athlete of the Week. I received that honor or recognition after the Lakeland game, and it was done the same way. I didn't know anything about it, and all of a sudden, my teammates corralled over me, and you know how that is, man. But, it was fun. It was awesome to see the reaction of the guys. And again, a kid who puts in the work like he does, along with the rest of the athletes we have on our team and within our program, it was the only way to get it done.
Yeah, and I would like to point out the defense. I mean, looking at the box score there through huddle, our defense only allowed Great Bridge. They had 48 plays, 48 total yards. So a little quick math. I mean, we averaged Great Bridge's offense to have a yard per play. Definite domination.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Black is really getting those guys ready each week, and he's patient in the process. We know we kind of lost quite a bit of our guys in the box from a year ago, but Coach Addy is really fine-tuned that secondary. And Coach E is showing why he's such a decent and a great coach, or a good coach, whichever word you want to use, because he's getting those guys prepared each week as at the linebacker core. But yeah, as a whole, our defense really showed, that they bounced back from the Kingsport game and, came out and executed the rep. Obviously, we were very pleased.
Yes, and let's see. So another one in the win column, and like to point out Jamari Parker here with the previous week that didn't didn't talk about specifically, but the previous week, catching an interception at the goal line and 100 yards, take it to the house, pick six. Definite. A standout there on defense.
Absolutely. He's a beast. We love him. Doesn't get rattled. He's a guy that loves competition. We see him here at West Branch as a three-sport athlete as well. Not only has he showed he's very good at playing football, but he's awesome on the basketball court and track and field, respectfully. So you'll hear his name quite a bit through all 3 seasons.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And like to point out before we move on, that last week's game. Yes, it was a total, full effort there for all 3 aspects to the team, but then also we were able to let some reserves play, and also a backup signal caller.
Yeah. We were allowed, well, not even that. We told our guys coming out of halftime, our starters to get 1 possession. And then after that, we want to filter in certain guys. Definitely don't want to put all of our second string, third string in and put them in a position to fail. So we did leave some seniors, some upperclassmen, or some starters in alongside some second or third string players to make sure that things were what they are. But yes, the second signal caller did come in, and he had some very good throws and very good read keys when it came to the run game, and threw for his first touchdown in his varsity or high school career. So, very pleased the way Derek came in and was poised. Obviously, he had our starting line in the first series, and then Coach Duncan put in his second O-line, which did a great job that led to that touchdown scoring drive. So very pleased with those guys. Got some young running backs that had a chance to tote the ball. And obviously just defensively, we have done quite a bit throughout the season, sprinkling in, some young guys. But, a lot of our older guys, juniors, seniors, or sophomores, got a chance to compete last week, which is great. And I go back and I say this, ultimately, if you're playing an opponent less than you, you want to show that, the standard is the standard. It's not about running the score up on a team, but we can't play down to the level of our opponent. So from a statistical standpoint and from an operation standpoint, we were very pleased the way all of our guys competed that played that night.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out too that talking about anniversaries this year with Western Branch, I'd like to point out that the fall of '87, that's at Great Bridge for a JV game. That's where my brother made his Bruin football debut.
There you go. There you go.
Just a lot of connections there between Western Branch and Great Bridge.
Absolutely. And a lot of respect there. It's a lot of respect there. Their staff, they're going to find a way to get things turned around. Their kids competed at a high level, and just that night it fell in our lap.
Yes, and I'd like to point out that Saturday, September, the last day of September was Friday, while the remnants of Ian was coming through. But when the calendar turns to October, that means one thing for high school football, that we're approximately at the halfway mark, and it's time for the first week of power rankings to come out there from VHSL. And for the listeners that are out there, it's similar to private school where it's based on enrollment, and with Western Branch being one of the biggest schools here in the state. And with us being Region A, we are 6A. Right now, we got Thomas Dale, 29.6. And out of the Richmond area, Oscar Smith, 29.5. And then right now, we are coming in at third there with 27.83 points after 6 games, but still a lot of games to be played.
Absolutely. We look at that forfeit, although we get a win and 2 points, I think being able to compete that week 1, would have really given us a little bit of a kind of like edge, if that makes sense, like all the other teams that are currently ranked above us. You were able to physically show outside of your stats what you were able to do and compete. So, but at the end of the day, I like where we are. Ultimately, we would love to be number 1 or 2, but, we're in a good spot. We're right in, when you use the term October, we're in the hunt. So at the same time, using a baseball term, but, we're right there in the thick of things. I told our kids, Kings Fort game, man, I'd rather be 4-1 than 1-4, and obviously we're in a good spot right now. So that really validates where we are versus where we would be or could be. So told our kids yesterday, we're very pleased with where we are as a program and where our kids are, but we're not satisfied. And that was my message. I wanted them to understand, although we're getting the recognition and the accolades and the other things that come with a winning program, I wanted them to understand that, as a collective team, we're not satisfied. And that's also saying to them, don't be complacent and don't be satisfied where we are.
Right. Yes. And with our schedule, similar to last year, we were able to start before there at the end of August, so have 2 games under our belt before the first day of school. So Correct. The same thing this year. So now that Indian River is tomorrow,
yes.
We got 4 straight games left, and tomorrow is the first at Brander Stadium, where out of those last 4, 3 will be at home.
Absolutely. Tomorrow's a pink out. So even our coaching staff are going to wear our Western Branch Bruin pink. So we're excited. It's no place like home. You hear me say that all the time. I think we got a major home field advantage when we play at Art Brander Stadium. The fans come out. The Bruin crazies are out. It's a lot of good. And the consistent supporters of our program are in attendance. So, without a doubt, we're excited about tomorrow night. Tomorrow's going to be a special night. Obviously, Dr. Avery is heading up our SEA committee and whatnot, and they're acknowledging and continuing to raise awareness, not only breast cancer, but all types of cancer. So I know I shared with our AD earlier this week that we had a benefit scrimmage in honor of Troy Outland, a Bruin that passed away to cancer in the mid-2000s or 2012. And, to me, his legacy is still living on. But we're also, again, excited to let this sport be a platform to continue to raise that awareness for not only women, but for men as well. So, tonight's going to be electric. Our stadium lights are going to hopefully pass the test tonight around 7 o'clock. We're going to have some important people come out and make sure everything looks good. And then, Friday night at 7 p.m., those lights are going to be bright, and our Bruins are going to be ready.
Yeah, and it's I know when the ball is placed on the tee and the ref blows the whistle and, the ball gets kicked off, I know that it's, game on. But
Absolutely.
Definitely going to be nice to host Indian River there tomorrow, and just Brandon Carr, a Bruin alum, leading that program.
Absolutely. We've been telling our guys all week, Coach Carr and his staff, they're going to have their boys ready. Oscar Smith just got out of Brave Stadium. I don't know the actual name of it, but they got out of there, just barely. But, to me, that's promising, and that's showing that Indian River is headed in the right direction. Last year we were able to go into their stadium and come out victorious. And this year, we've been preparing our young men for that type of atmosphere again. The game will not be over until all four zeros are on the clock. So, we're excited. I have personally a tremendous amount of respect, for Coach Carr. I'm sure he's watching and have watched all the little things that we've done and has applied it to his program, but yet making it his own. So I'm excited about what he's been able to do in this first year over with Indian River High School. For us, we just had a good week of preparation. Our guys have really locked in. One thing I shared with our guys, good teams do everything right one time. One time in a game, one play, one practice, 1 week, they do it right. Good teams do. Great teams are very consistent in their approach daily. And that's how we get from good to great. We got to be consistent in every little thing we do every single day in our process. So, I shared those words with them yesterday at the end of practice, and I understood our kids felt that. I saw it in their eyes. I could see it in their reaction. They want to get to great, but as I've said before, it's 1 week at a time and one rep at a time. So I'm excited. Tomorrow night's, game is going to be electric. Brandon gets to come back home to his alma mater, and I know he wants to impress. So, without a doubt, we're getting our guys prepared, and I'm sure he is. And come 7 o'clock, it's football.
Yes, and right now, actually, I think Indian River, they've honored their longtime principal by naming it after naming their stadium after longtime principal James Fry. I think is their name of their stadium. But like to remind everybody that the Bruins come into the game 5-1 and 3-1 in the district, and Indian River comes into the game 3-2 and 2-2 in the district, with their losses in the district being against Kings Fork and then last Thursday against Oscar Smith.
Correct, and to me, our message is don't let the record fool you. 2-2 in the district versus 3-1 means nothing. All stats are thrown out, come kickoff. So without a doubt, he's doing a very good job. And for us, our kids just need to see growth, and that's each week. Have I improved? Have I become a better version of me? Week to week, and that's all we want to see out of our guys. We understand the goal is to win a district, but ultimately it's to get to the playoffs and then eventually get to the mountaintop. So, we're excited about tomorrow. We're glad we're finally at home. I believe we got to check that stat for next week, but I believe this is the first time that I've had a chance to coach at home versus Indian River since I've gotten a job. So I believe the last time our Bruins have played Indian River at home was 2019. So it's been a while since they've been here, but we're excited.
Yeah, and just something odd this year. I mean, playing at Nansen River, but Nansen River, installing new turf. So we played at Kings Fork. Right now, as of today, we've had more games off of Kings Fork Road than we've had at Brander Stadium.
Absolutely. But I guess we're going to level the playing field the next 3 out of 4.
Right.
So now, I like to be bright on Friday nights. And, again, with Suffolk Schools getting turf, that was the field, I guess, that they determined would be the home field for Nansman. And I'm pretty sure, I believe, if I'm not wrong, Indian River was playing Nansman the same week that we were playing. Indian River was playing another Suffolk school. I'm not sure. I believe it was Lakeland the same week we played Nansman. But all good. We're at home and we're excited. Our kids really love our stadium. I want to give a big shout out to Joey Clayton and Mr. Higgins, Riley Higgins' father, for dedicating themselves along with Mr. Blizzard and several others with that paint crew. They've done a great job. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. But I wanted just to take a moment to say thank you for their efforts and time that they put in. Also, Miss Bartow has done a phenomenal job, trying to resurrect our booster club and, provide the best experience for our young men and young lady within our program. And, again, we often wait to the end of the year to give all our thanks and praises. But, to me, this was just a great time and a great opportunity to say thank you to those individuals for their contribution to our football program.
Yes, and I'd like to, as we move along, we usually talk about the middle school programs that's going to feed into
Yes.
Western Branch, and due to Hurricane Ian and the remnants, Western Branch Middle and Jolliffe Middle, their weekday games from Tuesday got postponed and moved to Saturday. And check the middle school's website there if you're interested in supporting those programs. They don't play each other. They have two separate games there on Saturday. JV goes out to Indian River this evening
tonight. Yep, absolutely. Kickoff at 6. They've had a good week of prep. Last week was a challenge with a short week. Monday they had practice. Wednesday they were playing a real game. So, to get that third day of preparation for their fourth game, or not fourth game, but day 4, Thursday game. I know yesterday Coach Thomas was very pleased with and how the guys handled this week's practice. Coach E has the defense rolling. And I love the fact that our varsity staff develops and works with all those JV guys so they hear one voice, one teach, one technique. Our varsity staff will be traveling as well, the ones that could get there, to continue to help develop those guys as Coach Thomas and Coach E dial up, plays offensively or defensively and a combination of special teams. So without a doubt, our Bruins are heading over to take on the Braves this evening at 6. We know how the high rise can be. So if you leave a little earlier, it may work in your favor.
Right. Yeah, it might be good to get off at Military Highway there near Bowers Hill and just take the Gilmerton there to and then hang a left at Greenbrier Parkway and you're right there.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you need to grab a bite to eat, if you get over there early, that's fine too. Understood. Right. But yeah, we our kids are this is what year 2 looks like with JV. We got to remember during that spring season, it was only varsity football only. So to see what Coach Thomas worked with last year and watch him develop those young men, and then to watch the incoming freshman class along with the returners, it's exciting, to see how these guys are competing each week.
Yeah, and I would like to bring in those incoming freshmen. I mean, when they started middle school, during the pandemic, there was no middle school sports. And I think last year, they did try, but, there was really nothing consistent, during their middle school years. And then, boom, it's high school, boys and girls,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think the fall they made it. Basketball got a little shaky during the winter sports, and then spring it kind of opened up last year for them. But to me, to see those kids have an opportunity to compete really kind of, prime them for transitioning up. So, definitely was pleased with that. A lot of our incoming freshmen also committed themselves to our off-season program when they were cleared to come up and live and work and train. And, we did a lot. We chalked it, we talked it, we walked it. We gave them all 3 phases of what that transition would look like outside of weightlifting and skill-specific drills on certain days. So, I'm not surprised the success that they have because that really started in the late parts of January.
Right. Yeah, and I would like to move on here to our Bruin flashback here. And, we're going to start off here with the 97 team. We're going to talk more in depth next week here. So tune in, everybody, as it's going to be homecoming week. But let's start off with the 97. And we did get these here from Coach Jay, Coach Cook, and also VHSL reference. So we'll first bring up Johnson & Johnson. And we're not talking about the shampoo. We're talking about David and Emmett there the '97 team, and Emmett went on to Virginia Tech and was first freshman there to play under Coach Beamer.
Yep, absolutely. I believe that year he wore number 21. And then after that year, he ended up transitioning to number 18, but continuing to play, the wide receiver spot or the slot spot. That year, Tech was awesome. You saw where they were going. That team went to the '99 National Championship Sugar Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, along with, some Bruin great, Sharon Stiff. I believe Keith was on that team as well. To watch those guys compete, Marvin Urquhart, I believe, was there or right behind them. I believe Marvin graduated in '99. But, it was great to see those guys compete and leave it on the field. So very pleased with Emmett. Obviously, that year or a year later, David Johnson ended up going to Norfolk State, where he played quarterback under the Spartans helmet, if that makes sense. So,
green and gold.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it because I'm a Trojan, but at the end of the day, you said it. No, nothing but love. He played for Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold. But he had a pretty good career that really has translated with the accolades that he was able to get and the success that he had while he played quarterback there. So yes, it was good to see the Johnson & Johnson guys be able to move on, but they were also great teammates. Emmett, believe it or not, is one of those rare high school stories. Played freshman year, was injured, did not play his sophomore, junior year. Had phenomenal track career at West Branch High School under Coach Wade Williams. And then senior year, decided to come back out. I'm sure Coach Jay, gave him all the words and answers he needed to hear. And then, the sky was the limit for that young man. But it was awesome to see him compete.
Yeah, and let's get to the backfield there, that three-headed monster here with you already talked about Urquhart, who went on to Virginia Tech, and also Keith Burnell, and he had a nice story that a recruiting trip there to Syracuse and how he talked number 7 to stay near home and go out to Blacksburg, and then also we talked about the green and gold, but let's talk about your school here, Rashad, here, because the other running back there in the backfield was yourself.
Absolutely. I ended up going to Big State, Virginia State University. I had a great career. I was blessed. I'm not even going to say great. I just had a great experience. Had phenomenal coaches. Played under legendary Lou Anderson. He would definitely be a Hall of Famer, in years to come. But, also had Coach Faison and Coach Kershaw as my coordinator, and Coach Arrington Jones. So, at the end of the day, we had a lot of good and knowledgeable coaches on our staff, but we also had some solid teammates. A lot of guys that probably could have played D1 ball anywhere else or played D1 ball at any other time of this era that we're currently in. But we all ended up at Virginia State for a reason. And our guys, really that program and the guys that were in that locker room, we're still tight today, so it was awesome. But, we also had Urquhart, and we used to call him, what did we call Man-Child? That was his nickname here. Man-Child, and it's funny because it's kind of showing our age, but I believe he had a pair of Nike Sharks. And on one heel, it said man, and on the other heel, it said child. So, at the end of the day, he was outside of Deion Dyer. He was the next 6 foot, 240 guy that you didn't want to hit. I think Forte over at Kickingham was as equally big. But at the end of the day, we had a solid backfield, and obviously Keith Burnell, he was the bell cow under Coach Lou, and his career ended up starting at Virginia Tech. And he had some games, some spurts, I believe his sophomore year or junior year, and then he ended up transferring, I believe as a grad, transferred to University of Delaware. And the current head coach at University of Delaware was one of his teammates when he transferred over. So, you talk about, where those guys are and what it looks like and just the path we took. I think ultimately, I love to tell kids this. It doesn't matter where you go. They'll find you, number one. Number two, you write your own story where you are. And just make sure your story is worth listening to. And if you start something, finish it. That's all that is. But, we had a phenomenal O-line. I'm sure the O2 team did as well. So as all the success and as much success that we had, we're nothing without that O-line, So those guys did a phenomenal job. I can't get all the names because I know we shuffled it quite a bit. So I don't want to leave anybody out. I'll wait till next week to give those a highlight because, Coach Burke was phenomenal with finding the right guys to be in the right fit, whether it was week in and week out or whether it was for that season.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is here with bringing up your senior season, with 97. I mean, I guess I'm showing my age of how long I've been in the workforce. I had just started the apprenticeship there at Norfolk Naval back in February of 97. So when it was time for football season, with studies and the job, I definitely tuned in here to local media and the newspaper and constant communication there with Coach Jay, but definitely remember y'all's season with being the first undefeated team for the Bruins there in the regular season. So, hey, right after here, the 97 team, we want to move along to the 02 team. And the 02 team here with the 20th anniversary, that team was the 97 team was the first regular season undefeated team for Western Branch. And then we had the 02 season that was led by Ryan Pond, Vince Hall, Lamont Stanfield, and others. And we'll get into more next week. But, the 97 team finished with the regular season first undefeated Western Branch football team. The 02 team, we ended up finishing the farthest as they went 12-1. And they finished with state semis. Is where that team went to, and it was they were definitely hey. So we have Coach Cook here on the phone here as he's getting ready here to go to the JV game. So the 02 team ended up scoring 500 plus points and just shutting down their opponents. And hey, Coach Cook, you here with us?
I am. I'm assuming the Wi-Fi went out.
That's all right.
Yep. I'm looking at the laptop bar now, but we're good.
Hey, no, we're good. We got video, we got audio. And Coach Cook and I, we ended up talking about these bullet points here to preview as next week here. This is the Bruin football flashback segment of our show, and next week, with it being homecoming week, we're going to talk more about the 97 and the 02 teams. And 97, I started at the shipyard. 02 is when Elizabeth and I got married. So, definitely there with a little personal connection there to the 97 and 02 Bruin football.
Absolutely. Big time personal connection. At the end of the day, I thank all the fans' flexibility. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. I know I had you in and out, but we're going to make the most of it.
Right.
But can you run that back to me one more time, please?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I was just saying how next week, with it being homecoming week, we'll talk more about the 97 and the 02 team. but 97 is when I started at the shipyard. And then '02, Elizabeth and I, we got married there in October of '02. So definitely remember hearing about both Bruin teams there with 97 and the 2002 team.
There you go. Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's kind of neat, how we have all these connections built in this year, this particular season. But again, I would say this. It would not sound right if we did not give praise to all the other programs that have really built the foundation of what Western Branch football is currently at, and that goes to every team and every player that is really put on that blue and gold. But yeah, so next week is going to be fun.
Yes.
It's exciting. Hopefully we can get a couple of characters on your show
right.
and let them talk about their Bruin memory. But at the end of the day, it's a legacy. It's a rich tradition of just what Western Branch football is, and then it's something we're going to share. It's called Honoring the Past while Celebrating the Present.
Okay.
So honoring the past, celebrating the present, while building towards our future Bruins, and that's what we want. We want kids excited to come from Jolliffe, to come from West Branch Middle, and be in this blue and gold.
Right. Yes, and I do have it on. I do have his cell number. I know that he doesn't live in the immediate area, but he does try to make every home game as he can. But I'm going to see about reaching out to Coach Arculin this week and seeing if maybe he's got time to come on Tuesday or Wednesday. Like last year, I was able to get Coach Jay and then Mr. Brandiff, on the phone last year, and their former Bruin coaches.
Yes, absolutely. I think that'll be great. I did talk to him, I believe, Grassfield game. We had a chance. Coach Dick Arculin and I just have a short moment. And, at the end of the day, he gave me confirmation that we're going in the right direction. And that's what it's all about, making sure in my heart that we're putting these kids in a position to be successful on and off the field while building them towards the real game, and that's the game of life.
Yeah.
We want them to be as equally successful in the game of life. Yeah. So, yes, I'm excited about that. I know you hear our marching band in the background. So I'm just in an area where our listeners, we don't end up dropping a call again. But it's exciting to see this campus alive. You got the band going, got a ghost game walkthrough. We got our JV kids getting ready to get on a bus. Our powder puff is over at the practice field practicing. So it's just fun to see so much going on. So I'm excited, hypothetically, if you're able to get, guys on to share their story throughout the week, and then we lead up to our next Thursday episode. I can't wait.
Yeah, well, hey, Rashad, that's I think you summed it up great, and looking forward to next week, and good luck there to the JV Bruins here in a little bit, and then the varsity Bruins there tomorrow night, and and there's just Bruins all over, because like we've said before, this platform is out of the class in '93. Mike Sharp, who's a longtime classmate of Coach Thomas, and just connections all over. And Rashad, appreciate you carving out this time per week to continue this only high school football coaches show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you providing that platform and your time as well. Big shout out to Mike Sharp. Again, without his vision, without him sharing information with you on how to go about this process, I don't think we're having this conversation today. So, we're very humble. We're grounded, and I just appreciate, as I say every week, allowing these parents and supporters and alumni to get an inside edition of what West Branch football looks like.
Right. And so fans, this is a great episode. Sorry we kind of went long, but we had a lot of things to cover, and then also bring up a little preview of episodes next week. So,
Yes.
Rashad, thanks again for your time, and go Bruins.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bruin Nation. Thank you, Mark.
All right. You're welcome. And Bruin Nation, we're out. And 6 o'clock JV tonight out at Indian River. And then 7 o'clock at 1968 Bruin Drive at Brandiff Stadium. Your Bruins will host Coach Carr and the Indian River Braves. So good night, everybody.